Welcome to the ineverglow show. I'm Eric McClanahan. I'm joined by the producer, Kylan Savage. What's up, Kylan?
Not much. Once again, still can't get rid of me.
Also joined by AJ Simmons once again. How you doing, AJ?
Living the dream, man.
Awesome. Tonight we are covering All Star United's titled album from 1997. Um, Produced by Ian Esklin and Mark Chevalier, I guess how you say it.
Okay.
Ian Esklin is the guitarist and lead vocalist. Patrick McCollum played keys. Christian Crow on drums, not the actor. Chris, it says, uh, is that an actor, Chris Crow? Or am I making that up? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, bass, Gary Miller. Um, all right, so AJ, what's your history with All Star United?
Um, I know Smash Hit or knew Smash Hit when I was younger, and that's it.
Okay.
And so I hadn't listened to any of this album until year and a half ago, maybe for the first time. And then hadn't listened to it since. So it had been deleted from my mind for the most part, as
Oh,
will
interesting.
happen. And so yeah, that's what I got.
Cool. Cameron Crowe is who I was thinking of.
There you
But
go. I got it.
Yeah.
I knew what you were. I knew what you were thinking.
I see. I'm not a movie guy, so I'm sure that's a household name to a lot of people. But
He makes some good movies, or did.
Well,
yeah,
did. Yeah.
Yes, it did is the word.
Yeah.
Kylan, what's your history with All Star United?
Yeah.
It goes back a long time, right?
Yeah. Back in September. um, yeah. Except that I did recognize a song. I'm trying to remember which song it is. I'm trying to see really quick. Um, there was one song I recognized. God, I should have taken better notes. Um, we'll cut all this. Beautiful Thing. I knew that song very,
Okay.
very, very well because it is featured in one of my favorite movies, Saved. You guys ever see that movie?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
2004
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
comedy
Uh-huh.
yeah,
with Mandy Moore
Yeah,
hmm
it's a great
and
movie.
Macaulay
yeah.
Culkin,
I liked
Fantastic
it.
movie.
Patrick Fugit. Yeah, yeah. So there's an
Yes.
All-Star
Yep.
United
Jim
song.
Malone.
Yeah, and Jenna Malone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. In fact, I might watch it after this. It's been a while.
I
I
liked it when it came out, but I haven't seen it since then.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember
It's still
All Star
like
United having a song in it.
there's some problematic stuff with the movie, but it's still, it's pretty funny how and it's like one of those things like if you grew up evangelical, like it's kind of like the way like King of the Hill is funny to everybody, but if you're like from the South in like a small town, it's like, oh, this is like extra funny because like I know
Yeah,
all these people. It's similar to that. But yeah, All
yeah.
Star United has a song. Uh, Beautiful Thing in that movie, which is great. And that's about all I know about All Star United. Except I've
All
seen you
right.
talk about them a lot online.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
interested in hearing your opinions.
yeah.
see
Um,
what I do know is I was gonna joke about the fact that I was excited to talk about Smash Mouth's All Star and like play really
I
confused
I
that
thought
we
through
were
all that
talking.
too. That's really
Yeah.
funny. I came up with the same bit and then decided not to do it.
That doesn't, yeah, exactly. I was like, oh yeah, I was supposed to do that. No,
Right.
no. Here we
um,
are.
my history with All Star United, knew of them back in the day when I was really into Christian music. Saw them live at Ichthus Festival, and they put on a great show. I think the first actual CD I had from them was the Smash Hits compilation, which was just like 5 or 6 songs from each of their first 2 albums and 2 new songs. Eventually got both the first 2 albums. Love them both. Um, if you haven't been watching this series, these are kind of my favorite albums. My top, I think there's 27 on the list. Favorite albums that I'm bringing to Kylan and AJ and sometimes some other guests, just to kind of get their thoughts on it and to help me like shore up their place on my top 100 albums list that I'm updating. It's really helpful to hear other people's opinions, and it's actually given me a lot of clarity on the ones that we've covered so far. Um, y'all got anything before we get into track by track?
Nah, man, I'm ready. Yeah, this was fun. I think I had a
Good.
general idea of what it was going to be going in. I think based on our conversations, I think AJ threw out the word Britpop in one of our
Yeah.
conversations, and so I kind of had a little bit of an expectation, but it still was not entirely what I anticipated.
Okay. My predictions for you all.
Oh yeah.
I
Hmm.
predicted a 2.5 for AJ and a 3.25 for Kylan.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Nice.
I
Fun
like that.
fact about this album, it came out on one of my birthdays.
Oh, wow. Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
6 months later. But yeah, I saw that. It came out on April 4th.
That's
So,
awesome. Also,
yes.
hey,
nice.
hey, where is there a rule that says you have to wish someone a happy birthday on their birthday? Can you just wish them a happy birthday? Like we start saying Merry Christmas, you don't just wait until December 25th to say Merry Christmas.
6 months after my birthday is not my birthday, Kylan.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I'm
send you
not
Every
hurt.
time,
saying
I'm
I'm
gonna, I'm
not
gonna send
saying
you
it's your
hurt
birthday.
feelings
I'm
after
not
this. All
no,
right.
hey, I'm not saying it is your birthday. I'm wishing you like I don't know, man.
every
I'm
time I
also
meet someone, I wish that I tell them I wish all your birthdays are happy from here on out.
there
And
you go.
then no, I
There
don't
you
really
Oh,
do
I
go.
that.
like
But
that. I like
No,
that.
I have so much anxiety when people put focus on me that every time someone tells me happy birthday on my birthday, I tell them happy birthday back.
You're like, yeah, you too. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
oh, happy birthday. And they're like, no, it's your birthday. I'm like, well, we're all celebrating it. So,
um, uh, speaking of the release date, I don't think I mentioned it came out in 1997. Um, so let's get into the first track, La La Land. Um, Kylan, what are your thoughts on this one?
um, okay, this chord progression, especially when the guitar comes in, are the first three chords the same as that Eminem song? Uh, what's the big one? The one from 8 Mile.
Lose yourself.
Oh,
Lose Yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
lose yourself. Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like it to me.
Yeah, you're not. That's not as far off as I would have
Yeah,
guessed. I get that.
I can
About as
hear that.
close as the
Yeah.
Keith Sweat sounding like Iggy Azalea.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like it may just it 99% of it is just in my own brain, but there's something about that chord
there's
progression
something
that
there. No, I
that
think that's fair.
No, I
uh
think Eminem totally ripped off All Star
Oh yeah,
United.
oh for sure.
100%. He
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
obviously influences.
Yeah.
Obvious
Yeah,
influence.
for sure. I like this song. They're it's not my favorite song on the album. As I listen to the album more, I don't love it as an opening track.
Mm.
Um, there's some kind of like guitar tone in there too, that just like it just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. I don't know what it is. There's a little bit of tension, which normally I'm like really into. Um, but there was something that it just didn't exactly click. But the vocals are so good, so catchy. Like it feels very just like classic pop rock. Um, everything's like really straightforward in a way that I love. That guitar sound just took it to a three for me.
Okay. And also, we need to talk about rating
All
skills
right,
again, I believe. So,
1 through 5 still
all
for
right.
now.
AJ,
What what
0
if-
through
what
3.
what if I switched it up this time and 1 is the best and 5 is the worst?
Please don't.
I
Let's go.
won't.
AJ, you doing 0 through 3?
Yep.
All right. And mine is a 0 through 5 stars and a 0 to 10.0 thing that I'll talk more about in other episodes because it's hard to explain, really, I guess.
Yep.
All right, AJ, what do you think about La La Land?
Um. So is that a pipe organ, Kylan, or is it just a like keys that they program to sound like pipe organ? It's
Where?
like throughout this, right? Like throughout this album, there's like this like pingy almost. It doesn't quite sound like piano keys. Like this is piano here, but I feel
Yeah.
like later on there's like this like pipe organy type sound, like almost a Doors type sound. And they've got like that like pingy
I've
guitars
noticed
that are
that
going.
in a few of their
Yeah.
songs, that kind of
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doors sounding organ.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's like this weird like yeah.
I think I mentioned something about it in one of the other
Yeah, like there's
songs.
obviously piano, but
Yeah.
I do think that
Yeah.
there's a second instrument.
I feel like it
Mhm.
might be a B3, a Hammond B3 organ.
Hmm,
Like classic
okay.
rock and roll blues organ.
Gotcha. This
Okay.
song's fun, right? With the la la
Yeah.
la chants and little guitar pings and stuff like that. The
Hmm.
lyrics are clever, they're biting. You know, I often joke about like what question does an album answer, and this whole album, including the song in particular, is like, hey, but what if like Five Iron Frenzy really got into Britpop?
Right.
Right?
For
And I
sure.
think this is a key example of this one for me. I also have like after every song, like what Britpop band this sounds like to me, and this
Okay.
is Blur.
Perfect.
Like this is 100%
Very
a Blur
blur.
song.
Very blur,
Okay.
yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. I think I progressed from like Oasis in the 90s to Blur in like the early 2000s, and then like Manic Street Preachers being like my favorite Britpop band.
Yeah.
So yeah, I dig this. I don't dislike it as an opener, right? Like, those keys and stuff like that kind of like bring it in, but I can almost see flipping it with the next one as an opener,
Yeah. I think I would
right?
like that more.
And maybe actually this is like the closer then, potentially.
I think
But
I would like this as a closer. But
yeah, I think it could make sense, especially with Bright Red Carpet as the intro. But yeah, this is 2.5 out of 3 for me. Solid track.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record on this album because like
five
every
star, 10, five
every
star, 10.
yeah, well, not quite that, but every song is kind of good for the same reasons. I think like the Ian's voice is really good.
Hmm.
The melodies are all super catchy. The guitars have, there's some cool solos and lead parts and things like that.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the formula on like every song here. But like I think that they're all really good. So
Yeah.
La La Land is a 5 star, 9.7. So solid 5 star. Um, and like I think another thing about this album is like my whole family loves this album. Like there's not
Yeah.
many albums that and back when I had the CD and I used to listen to it with my mom. My mom liked it. It's so it's kind of cool when
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is
people you
like,
love also love that music.
yeah, I mean, so I was reading too, Ian uh went on after All Star United to be a producer and
Mm.
he won like a couple Dove Awards.
Yeah.
And you can tell like he's got like it really as a songwriter and a producer, um he reminds me a lot of, oh my God, what's his name? What's his name from Fountains of Wayne, who Adam Schlesinger, who then you find out like, oh, Fountains of Wayne is just like a great pop rock band. But then you find out, oh no, he's also just an incredible pop rock songwriter. And if you look like the songs he's produced, like he did all the songs for That Thing You Do, and he did
Mhm.
like, I mean, he
Which makes
did,
sense.
yeah, just like really great, straightforward pop rock.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So it reminds me of that a
Cool.
lot.
All right. Um, let's go to track 2, Bright Red Carpet.
Cool.
AJ, what do you think about this one?
Um, I think that this is a contender for my favorite track on the album. I don't think that's a surprise, right? It's got this like weird bass line. It's got those
Hmm.
aggressive guitars that I like. It's got some really bright or like really biting, sharp lyrics again. This is like a really good Blur song that
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
have
was gonna say
this.
this is super Britpop. This is where I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I see what AJ's talking
100%.
about.
Yeah, and so yeah, I dig it a lot. I have it as a 2.75 out of 3.
Nice. Kylan?
I do think this should have been the opening track. Yeah, I like it. The guitars are mostly like throughout this record, they're mostly like effectsless. Like they're
Mm,
just like a little bit of overdrive. And then this song has like some cool like minor chord arpeggios with like some flanger and stuff.
hmm
It keeps it all really, really dynamic. Um, And this song got a 4 out of 5 from me.
Ooh.
Yeah, like all of these songs, I'm like, man, I could totally see this on a early 2000s like teen comedy
Hmm.
soundtrack, which is
Yeah.
a great thing because that's like one of my favorite vibes. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
I could see all of these being like the opening shot of like Clueless or something. You know, like one of those kind of movies
Hmm.
where it's like
Yeah.
someone you're following them in their car and it pulls up to the tracking shot of the high school and everyone
Yeah.
walking around. It's like all these
Yeah,
songs are like perfect for that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I would have been so stoked if like one of these songs was in 10 Things I Hate About You. I watched that
Oh
movie
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
and
exactly.
it would have
Yes,
fit so good.
100%.
Yeah. Um, where were we? I totally lost track.
right.
What's your
Okay.
rating on it?
Uh, um, so for me, it's a 5 star, 9.7, just like La La Land, and for pretty much the same reasons. I like the drum beat in it, where I don't know how do you describe like that stop start kind of uh is that hi hat hit thing? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that drum beat. I like that it ends on a pretty rad guitar solo.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, the guitars are great. 5 star, 9.7. My kids went to sleep with this on repeat the other night, as they have a few songs from this album, and
Oh,
I'm always
nice.
scared that it's going to make me like the songs less because I'm not the type of person who, when I like something, listens to it over and over and over.
Oh, that's me,
Oh,
But
you're
100%.
my
missing out,
kids
man.
are.
Yeah.
Oh no, I start. They lose their magic for me if I do that.
I
Like
get TJ's like that too. And it blows my mind because he'll say
Hmm.
like his favorite albums, he's only listened to like 10 times or less or something. You know, like he'll spread them out and listen to them like
I do that.
once or twice a year because he doesn't want it to lose them. And I'm like, no, when I
Yep.
like something, I'm like, I'm listening to this one song. It's the only song I'm listening to this week. And I'm listening to
Yes.
it 50 times a day.
I'm gonna
But
extract
then,
as much dopamine as I can out of that
Yeah,
song. All
exactly.
right.
do you ever want to listen to it again after
Oh
Yes.
that?
yeah.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you just got to take a little break and then
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a whole Spotify playlist of my obsession songs.
Okay.
Uh that it drives my wife just crazy because there'll be
I'm
like
gonna
a
need you to send
song.
me that.
Okay. It's wild. The first track
That's
on there
I don't doubt that.
is
I would expect nothing else.
the first song on
It's
it
gonna go
is
from Willie Nelson to Aqua. It's gonna be
for
great.
sure. Yeah, yeah. No, the first song is Jump in the Line by Harry Belafonte. So followed by Kesha. So it's just like yeah, it's pretty wild.
I think I've listened. I might be approaching 50 listens to Your Sparkling Death Cometh, which is my favorite album of all time.
That's
So
wild.
I don't listen to it more than 4 or 5 times a year. Um, and pretty much a lot of these albums that we're covering now are kind of like that for me. Like I try purposely to spread out the listens. Some of them are a little more like this album is a little more easy to listen to over and over without getting tired of it because it's pretty much just good pop rock songs. But
Yeah.
like the Falling Up album that we listened to recently,
Mhm.
where there's just so much nuance in what's going on in things. I just don't like to like drill that into my brain constantly until I don't know. I guess I try to
Well,
make it last. You all
yeah.
try to get as much out of it as once. I try to make it last as long as
Well,
possible, I guess.
AJ and I both have ADHD, so it's like a very
uh,
specific. That's
Hmm.
like an under discussed. I feel symptom of that
and
Yes.
so does one of my children who listens to the songs over and over and
over
over.
and
So
over
maybe
and over.
there's
And over.
maybe
There you
there's
go.
something to that.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So track 3, Angels. Kylan, thoughts on this one?
This is some weird guitar in the intro.
Yeah.
I have
But
like very like Johnny Marr or Graham Coxon, so like Smith and
uh-huh.
Wesson kind of guitar,
Yeah.
like that jangly pop kind of.
Yeah. But like with full like wah pedal, just like
Yeah,
going
yeah.
crazy. There's another one that could be a early 2000s teen movie opener.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to like articulate a lot of my feelings on music like this in particular, without like sounding boring, because or without doing the music a disservice, right? Because like it is so straightforward. Like you know what to expect essentially. Like once you get into the song, there's like
Mhm.
a comfortability of like, like I said, classic pop rock songwriting, like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, with
Right.
maybe like a cool little musical interlude in the middle. Really tight, great harmonies, great, vocal hooks, great guitar. Like everyone is at a 10, but it's hard to talk about it in a way that doesn't make it sound like boring and expected. Like the expected part is is honestly a benefit to the music. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Um, like I never heard this album, but I put it on and I'm like, oh, like I feel like I've heard this song before.
Yeah.
But in a way that I like. Like it's not like the way a lot of like modern pop music, they're all just kind of aping each other.
Hmm.
This feels like a warm blanket.
Yeah.
This is another 4 out of 5 for me.
Okay. Now I get what you're saying. Like my notes for the following up self-titled album, like every song had like 10 to 12 like points to it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
This one there, my notes are very
Right.
short,
Like,
and
yeah,
Yeah.
they're simple.
You're just
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
good song.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's why I said like I'm going to sound like a broken record, but
Mm-hmm.
um, and Kylan, you have a better musical vocabulary than I do, but uh, so this just might
yeah.
be our honest reactions.
Yeah,
Obviously, the fact that it's here doesn't mean I love it any less, but
right.
um,
It's like
AJ, what do you think about?
it's
Oh, sorry.
simple. It's simple, but that's not a bad thing, right? Like
No, it's well
it's hard
done.
like it feels I don't know, I feel weird just saying like it's simple and straightforward. But it's like,
Yeah,
you know,
But it's simple and straightforward.
yeah, but I love that.
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Like, there's a time and a place for like something like My Epic or Falling Up, where
Right.
you're like, I'm gonna need to listen to this like 10 times to catch everything.
Yeah.
yeah,
And this, and you're just like, cool, whatever. Like,
yeah,
windows
Yeah.
are down. It's all
Exactly.
right.
It's great
yeah,
driving music.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for sure. AJ, what do you think about Angels?
This is my least favorite track on the song,
Oh.
but it's still a 2.25 out
Okay.
of 3.
Oh, wow.
I like the jingly guitars. I like the intro. It's very radio friendly. My problem with the is this actually like the I think only real song that it kind of like the lyrics are really generic. It's like
Yeah.
almost could have been
Yeah,
to the point that you were kind of making like the intro song to like a WB sitcom, family sitcom of like the Angel family, and they're like a family of angels that live on Earth, and like
Honestly, I love this idea for a sitcom. Like Touched by an Angel, but funny. Like,
Yes. Yeah, almost like Almighty Johnson's out of New Zealand. Where
yeah.
they're like hiding, but a
Ooh.
little bit funnier version of that. But
Right.
there's a lot
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
quirky humor there. But yeah, this could have
yeah.
been the title track for like a 90s WB show
No,
about
for
Death
sure.
Family of Angels.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's just kind of generic and stuff, but it's still good. Again, like it's good background music and stuff like that, but it is like the least interesting to kind
yeah,
of go off of what we were saying. Doesn't make it bad.
right.
This is like if Blur was just like, I don't know, like we'll write a song in like 5 minutes. It's fine.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
we need a 10th track here, is kind of what this feels like.
yeah. I agree. This is my least favorite on here too, but it's still a 4.5, 9.3. Um, this was the first song from this album that my kids played over and over and over, and I actually think it helped it in this case. I started liking it more. But yeah, still just doesn't have quite the appeal, I guess, of uh my favorites on the album.
Yeah.
Um, all right, track 4, Drive. Kylan, what do you think of this one?
Why don't you ask AJ first?
AJ, what do you think of this one?
I've gone first 3 in a
On this,
row.
I thought I asked AJ first last time. Maybe I
I
didn't.
did. That was the first one, I
Oh,
think,
really?
right? I don't
Oh.
know. But so after 3 songs that sound like Blur, this sounds like Oasis.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Because of the
I have that in
guitars.
my notes.
Those
Yeah.
bends,
It's
it's
got a
those guitar bends. Those
exactly, yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's got a solid guitar solo to that point. Because I think Oasis actually has some pretty decent guitar work. His vocals are like more subdued and like more in the background. I don't know if they did
Mm.
something different with them. It's a little bit lighter of a track, but not bad. Like it's almost the opposite of Angel in that regard. Like this is kind of a lighter track, but I think it's really well done and is
Mhm.
again a contender for a favorite on this album. So like it's almost like hold on, a lot of the same comments I would say about Angel are flipped on the same on this, but this time it works for me. Maybe
Mhm.
I just got tired of like the Blur vibe and was like, oh, well, Oasis, okay.
Right.
So yeah, this is a 2.75 out of 3 for me.
Cool. All
I
right.
think this album is, with the exception of the opening track, I think it's sequenced almost perfectly. I love that this comes right after Angel or Angels, Angels.
Angels.
Yeah, because it slows it down tempo wise a little bit.
Hmm.
It just lets you kind of groove.
Yep.
Hmm.
Um, I would give this like a 3.75. It's like not. It's just because like mid-tempo songs are not my favorite, but I like where it's at like in the album. I think it's important that
Yeah.
it's there, and I like it. It's also really long,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I really like the Oasis sounding guitar thing. I've always really liked songs about driving. For some reason, I think because I actually used to like driving and listening to music before this city became overcrowded and just a pain to drive in. But so yeah, that endears the song to me a little bit. But it's
Mhm.
5 stars, 9.6, so barely a 5 star for me. Um,
Nice.
so let's go to track 5, Torn. Who would like to go first this time?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Um, yeah, their intros are all really interesting. Like I'm a big intro guy. And this also makes sense right after the last song. It's like let's slow it down like even a
I
little
have
bit
that same note.
more. Yeah, it's like we had some pretty high energy, and then we're gonna start to dip a little bit,
Hmm.
but like kind of get into a groove.
Hmm.
Uh, I think the guitar is really effective, but it's a type of guitar playing I don't really like. With the clean guitar, I love the tone, but there's something about the dun 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 like when they're called like when you're picking down on the guitar or you pick up. So that dun dun, I don't love it. It feels a little too like 90s worshipy for me.
Mhm.
So I gave this one a 3 out of 5.
AJ?
So I have the same note about this being like a good like calm down track. It's like time to take a breath after the first act of
Mhm.
the album. This is the first one that's like a Manic Street Preachers track for
Mm.
me, and like I said, that's currently the Britpop band I like the most. I really dig the lyrics, right? Like it's not biting like religious commentary like a lot of the other stuff is, but it's something I think a lot of folks can relate to, right? Like to the idea of being like uncertain of something, and it feeling like chaos. It's like ripping you apart, tearing you apart. The guitar that comes in at like the 2 minute mark, I really like that change that happens. It's somewhere around the 2 minute mark.
Right here.
Yeah. Right. That's good. And like
It
I
is
said,
good.
feels kind of Manic Street Preacher-esque. This is a 2.75 out of 3 for me.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, almost half the song is a guitar solo, I think,
Yeah.
Hmm.
which
And I normally that's not my vibe, but I dig it.
yeah, I like it. Uh, their guitar playing's pretty good and original, I think, so I don't mind it. The song's a 4.5, 9.4 for me.
Nice.
Um, yep. Let's go to track 6, Smash Hit. AJ, what do you think about this
It's a smash hit, man.
one?
It's obviously the biggest song on the record. This is the only one I knew before. It feels very Blur. I think we're back in the Blur realm, which
Mhm.
is good after detouring to our Oasis and then visiting the Manic Street Preacher, to come back around to some Blur. The vocals get pulled back again, right? And then they
Hmm.
have this like weird effect on them.
Mhm.
Um, I have like this is probably the most like punk rock sounding song on the album. I think track 2 Bright Red Carpet also kind of falls in there as well. And we're back to some biting social commentary
Hmm.
after like 3 tracks of detour, detour from that. So I had this as a 2.5 out of 3. I had the random weird thought, and I don't know why, but I have a note of I want to hear Neon Horse cover this.
Oh, that'd
That
be
would be
fun.
awesome.
I could dig that
Right? Okay. You guys can appreciate that note.
for
I
sure.
don't know why. That was probably at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning as I was listening to this like before going to bed.
Yeah,
And I was like, Neon Horse, let's do it.
That would be cool.
I would love that.
All right, Kylan,
Okay,
what do you think?
this is a great song. So, do we know was this like the single from the record? Because I did recognize this song as well.
Yeah, I think it was.
Um,
Yeah.
okay, it is really interesting to me, like the interplay of this band. Like you can tell. I mean, the fact that they did have so many songs placed on soundtracks and stuff, like this album in one respect was definitely a play at like commercial success in terms of those like TV and movie licensing deals. It's also wild to put your single on as the first part of like side B of your
Yep.
record. That's like that's ballsy. Uh,
I don't know if it was the first single. For some reason,
yeah.
I know La La Land was a single because I was very confused that it wasn't on the Smash Hits compilation, but I don't know which
Mm,
one was the first single.
interesting. But yeah, this is a it's a big song. It's a great song. It it does okay, I'm gonna go a little TJ here. I
Let's do
do
it.
think potentially this is a concept record. And I do think it is about trying to move to Hollywood to like make it. Um, because I think it starts out, La La Land sort of sets the scene, bright red carpet. It's like you have all these ideas, the young and naive, like just off the bus in LA, and then it starts to get like a little bit kind of uh darker. Angels Drive, Torn, like Torn kind of is like the lowest point of that, of like you're
Mhm.
trying to make it, you're not quite, and then Smash Hit definitely feels like the like commentary of like a PR team or like record label executives like trying to, you know, have a specific plan. So I do think this is a note I would say on AJ's level of Neon Horse should cover this. This album I think makes a great pairing with I Am Hollywood by He Is Legend because I
which
think they're both kind of telling the same story, but in very, very, very different ways.
which
Yeah,
not to
that's not.
brag, but I get to see his legend play that album in full in a
I'm
couple
so
days, so
mad.
that's
I'm so
that's going to be
mad.
pretty cool.
Well, I think I'm gonna have Skylar Croom on my podcast, so
Oh, nice. There you go.
we'll see. He's still really iffy about it because we have church in our name. He's like,
Let's
we're
see.
not associated
Well,
with any religion. And I have to,
I
like, I know.
get that.
Yeah, no, this is a great song. This is a 4.5 out of 5.
All right.
It's not your
Uh,
worst concept album idea or your best. I mean, it can't compete with Pirate Ghost
No,
or
for sure,
Mojo.
for sure.
Pirate Ghost might be your best concept album that you've come
I
up
think
with.
so. I think so. But
I think we should write that, but
I think we should too.
but I guess within that concept, though, there's still like the song where he's talking about, Jesus thing being a smash hit. Is it talking
Mhm.
about Christian, still like Christian culture to you, or like a Christian actor or artist,
No,
whatever? And
I think it's really like the commodification of
yeah,
Jesus as a way to make money, specifically within
yeah,
the music world. Because I
right.
mean that's like a well documented thing at this point, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like bands that are just like, yeah, I mean we don't believe any of it, but
Jesus per minute.
you can make a lot of money in the Christian market. Like you
Hmm.
have a captive audience essentially, right?
yeah.
If you make good music, like, especially around this time, like I feel like there was a lot of there's a huge audience that wanted to engage with
Mhm.
secular pop culture, but for whatever self-imposed reasons, just wouldn't. And
Mhm.
so
Right.
if you have something that is like a sound alike or a look alike, right? But you talk about Jesus, then you can make a lot of money. So yeah, to me, it
Mhm.
does seem like not that All Star United is trying to do that. I think it's a um, really scathing comment on people that do that cynically.
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know. Are they
It-
sort of making fun of themselves, making Britpop Jesus music?
Maybe.
no. The second tournament I did was called the Smash Hits tournament, and
Mm.
it was based on like that tournament was based on uh Christian music that came out between 1995 and 2004 because I see that as
Peak.
the yes, the peak, the time where not only was a lot of good music, Christian music coming out, but also where it was being um could be marketed to that
Right.
audience,
Yeah.
and you could make a lot of money on it. Um,
Jesus Freak and Blood were on the
Hmm.
mainstream radio,
yeah,
at the very
yep,
least. I know what Amy Grant was as well. I remember
yeah,
that stuff.
yeah. And I think it
Yeah.
got even worse really with when Tooth and Nail started getting big in the 2000s
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
Tooth and Nail would you know sign bands that maybe weren't like you know determined to be Christian artists, but they would still get pushed into
Right.
that
Yeah.
market because there was that
They're not a
audience
Christian
built
band. They're
in.
just a band made up of Christians. Okay,
Right.
Eric.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Um. All right. Track 7, Savior of My Universe. Kylan, what do you think of this one?
It's okay.
So I
Okay.
knew you weren't gonna like this
It's
song.
okay. Yeah. No,
Well,
it's
because what
it's
does this
not
sound like,
like.
Kylan? Who does this sound like? What album does this sound like it could go on?
Well, I will say the acoustic guitar tone sounds better than it doesn't sound like it's directly plugged in. Sounds like they actually mic'd the guitars, but
There just
yeah,
needs to be like
it's
crickets in the background.
well,
Make it sound like campfire music.
and the drums are real. So, yeah, I don't love this. This one's a little too
Jars of Clay. If people are getting
yeah,
the joke here, it's Jars of Clay. But Jars of Clay like
a little
Kylan
bit.
and Blur.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's something. There's someone vocally, like I feel like he's doing something a little bit like he's almost doing like a
Mhm.
British affect on his voice too. Um,
Oh, throughout this album, it's there, I
yeah,
think,
but this
though.
song in particular, it sounds like someone, and I can't place it. Um, but yeah, this
It
is
reminds me of
Razorlight.
it. Well, it reminds me of Lightning Crashes by Life because where he
Oh, okay.
sings the line, I can feel it.
Hmm.
Or some like there's a line similar to that I think in Lightning Crashes, so it always reminded me of that song. I don't think
you
I
know
don't
what?
think
I figured it out. His voice, it's
okay.
not necessarily a British affect, but on this song, he sounds like Stephen Jenkins from Third Eye Blind.
Okay, at one
Oh
point I
yeah,
had
okay.
that, yes, I had that same thought that this said Third Eye Blind, and I
He,
replaced it with Jars of Clay.
yeah. No,
Because I was
but
like, this sounds more like, but his voice, yeah,
his voice
100%.
is totally doing Third Eye Blind right here.
But like, God, and I like this record as well, like the Jumper album, in
Yeah,
particular, like
yeah.
Stephen Jenkins on that album, which came out roughly around the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had that note, and like I said, I was like, delete Third Eye
Yeah.
Blind and put Jars of Clay.
Yeah.
Because like
Uh,
Motorcycle Drive By kind of sort of comes to mind.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Especially with those harmonies and stuff.
Hmm.
This is a 3 out of 5 for me.
Oh, I thought you were going to give it lower
It's still good.
based on. Okay.
I was having a good time with this record.
Okay.
And I think it's sequenced really well, and no song is like too long, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I thought you would appreciate the length of this album compared to some of the others.
100%. Let me tell you, we talked about No Sir Nihilism is Not Practical by Showbread last night for Church Hymns
Yeah.
Now. And I did not get out of this basement until 12:30. So
Oh my gosh. Wow.
yeah. No,
um,
I love the length of this record.
okay, good. Also, I don't think I mentioned that Smash Hit is a 5-star, 9.7 for me.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, AJ, where are you at on this song?
So I really like the strings on this, and then there's like noticeable tambourine. Like on other songs, the tambourine's there, but you kind of have to like dig it
Right.
out a little bit. And then again, I think the organ's back on this
Mm-hmm.
one,
It is.
as well, right? And so like it's got enough like things going on with the sound that I really like. Again, it was like somebody brought jars of clay and was like, okay, we can't pay Blur because it's 1997. We could pay you. Can you make a Blur song?
Yeah.
And so at times, like I do think this is another contender for a favorite on this album
Mm.
for me. So I'm gonna say 2.75 out of 3.
Yeah, I
All
like
right.
this one quite a bit. I think the I think bringing in the acoustic guitar and kind of changing up things is.
They needed like
I feel like
campfire
that
sounds
had.
and bugs though to really make the full like jars of clay and drive kind of nuts.
I feel like they had to do something different at some point.
Yeah, this is like the
Um,
time to do it too, right? Track
yeah,
7 on a 10
yeah,
track,
and
11
I think
track, I
they,
put that in quotes. This is a
and I
good
think it's
time
a
to try
really good
something.
song too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 5 star, 9.7 for me.
All right.
Let's go to track 8, "Beautiful Thing." AJ, what do you think of this one?
This is an Oasis track. Like unapologetically an Oasis track, right? And like weird pipe organ, tambourine, and it also feels like I think like the most straightforward Christian thing on here. Like there's no snark, there's nothing. It's just like praising God for the Rockies, the Grand Tetons, and other things, right? So like there's no snark. It's just a Christian Britpop song sung by an American. Um, so it's a 2.5 out of 3 for me.
Okay, Kylan.
I feel like it needs horns. This is basically a ska
Ooh,
song without
I get to the like
horns.
the Five Iron Frenzy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this is like the best Steve Taylor Newsboys song that they didn't release. Like
Hmm.
it's got that like Steve Taylor, Peter Furler kind of weirdness in
Hmm.
like that like the first line, I want a Pavarotti voice because I'm a
Right.
scary conic. Like that's such a Steve Taylor
Yeah, it
line.
is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Um I
I thought about him throughout this album actually a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit, right?
I think they were
Yeah,
heavily inspired by Steve Taylor.
I do
Right.
too. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's like it's like there's a lot of those like turns of phrases that like it's like, oh, that's like really weird, but really funny and really clever. Oh, okay, but you don't think about it because you can just like vibe with it, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
can
Yeah.
be nonsense, but it could also like mean a lot more if you engage with it on that level.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
This is 100% my favorite song and a 5 out of 5.
Oh,
Joining
oh wow.
the
Ooh,
5 out of 5
what?
club. Yeah, I
Nice.
love this
Wow.
song.
Very cool. I One thing about the song that I know it's a great song is because it has whistling in it and it doesn't bother me because I hate whistling in music like so
Oh, it's
much.
so funny.
Oh
But
man.
I don't hate it on this song. I
What's
feel like
like
it's
the indie pop song that has a ton of whistling that I'm blanking?
Peter, Bjorn, and John.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, oh my
Yes.
gosh. I hate that song. Yes.
It's funny. I've never recorded a song with whistling in it. But I have wanted to for for years. And I did so Josh Olson has this project that we've been working on for years. It's a surf rock album.
Okay.
And I'm doing vocals and lyrics on it. And so he's like basically recorded all the instruments, and then he sent me all the stems, and I'm working on stuff. Just I mean, this has been like years in the making.
Yeah.
And I put whistles in a song. I was like, I think this really works. This is my chance to finally get whistles in a song. And he was like, I really like it. Can you send me a mix without the whistles? And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. I get it. I
Oh,
get it. So
Yeah.
whistles to you, Eric, is like harmonica to me.
Okay. Uh, so
It's
you don't
like
like harmonica, but you're a country music guy?
I like it if it's used right. Like
Okay.
M- Mickey Raphael from Willie Nelson's band is the preeminent harmonica player. Like he's like the best harmonica player in the world. a lot of like Bob Dylan harmonica. I'm just like, shut up. Like this is like
It's too much.
too much.
Dude.
So yeah.
I listened to one of Bob Dylan's albums I'd never heard before for a project I was doing, and it was like a 76-minute long album. And like I respect Bob Dylan, but like I feel like you must feel for a lot of albums trying to get through 76 minutes of that.
That's
Great
way too long.
songwriter, but that's
What
that's
album
just too
was
much
it?
in one
What
in
album
one
was it?
sitting. Oh man, it wasn't Highway 61 or whatever. It was
Free Willin' Bob Dylan, or
it
I'm
may
trying to
have
think which one.
been. Let me see here. So I was listening to all the albums in Rate Your Music's top 100 that I hadn't heard. Let's see, it would have been.
Was it after he started sounding like he was singing with marbles in his mouth?
uh,
One of my spiciest music takes is that Jacob Dylan's a better singer than Bob Dylan.
No, for sure. I 1,000% agree with that.
I cannot find where.
Now I think I'm wrong.
We can agree on some things.
We actually agree a lot.
Well, I can't
Oh,
find
that's
which
fine.
one it
That's
is.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Bob
anyways,
Dylan's a lot. But this song is not. The song's great.
yeah, I've gone back and forth with giving this one a 4.5 or a 5. Went with
Give it a
4.5.
Give it a 5. Give it a 5. What's stopping
Life is
you?
short. Life is
What's
short.
stopping you? Exactly.
Okay,
It's a
I'll move
beautiful
it up.
thing. It's a beautiful
Rate it.
thing to give this song a 5.
We'll move it from a 4.5 to a 5, a
Good.
9.5 to a
Wow,
9.6.
Kylan's arguing for high F5. This is some weird territory.
Simply, I mean, a doggy bag trip to the Money Super Bar. I mean, come on. That
The lyrics were a lot of fun on this to like look
that's
up.
once again, that's the best Steve Taylor line that he never wrote.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if they had just like some weird synth and like club dance drums, this would be a Newsboy song.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's go track number 9, Tenderness. Kylan, what do you think about this one?
I like this bouncy piano. I wish the piano was a little fuller. Like you can tell it's electric piano. Like it's like it doesn't feel like real piano to me. But I like that they went into this sort of like I like this sort of like bouncy piano kind of thing. It reminds me a lot of like um some of those like I know I've brought it up on the show before, but Hedwig and the Angry Inch. It reminds me a lot of songs from that. I mean, it doesn't hold a candle to the song Tenderness by General Public, but as far as songs called Tenderness goes, it's a good second. I gave this one a 4 out of 5.
Okay. AJ?
Another Oasis song. I really like the intro. I like the build to the chorus, right? It's got I think really beautiful lyrics, right? Like I tend to gravitate to artists and songs writing about obviously a loved one in a really poetic and pretty way. In some ways this is like the most serious of their songs, like that it isn't snark. It's catchy. I dig it. It sort of also is very Beatles,
For
but
sure.
of course we're talking Britpop, so no kidding. But
Yeah.
like this is the most straightforwardly
Mhm.
Beatles, and that's why I say Oasis, right? Because Oasis
Yeah.
has a lot of things where you're like, okay, this is if the Beatles came out, 30 years later.
Right.
Yeah,
And so yeah, this is a 2.75 out of 3 for me.
2.75.
Yeah. Oasis is like if the Beatles, instead of getting into LSD, were just alcoholics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Oasis is What's the Story, Morning Glory. That came out in 96, I think, right? So
Yeah.
it's very possible that they heard that album and were like, okay, let's see what we can do with that.
Oh,
Because
100%.
Ian,
They listen to Blur, they listen to Oasis.
oh yeah.
If he tried to tell me like in an interview that he didn't do that, I would call him a liar. It's
Yeah. 100%.
I should have looked up some old interviews to see if I could find anything. For me, it's a 5-star, 9.7.
Nice.
I like that it's a little something different with the
Hmm.
pianos. Really great chorus, catchy. The
Hmm.
same things that are good about pretty much all the other songs.
Yeah.
Um, so let's go to track 10, Lullaby. AJ, what do you think of this
Organ at the beginning.
one?
Yeah, I like that organ at the beginning. I dig the guitar, like the second guitar that comes in at like the minute
Hmm.
20 mark, I think. It's solid 90s like jangly guitar driven pop, right?
Mm,
I genuinely don't know how these guys weren't bigger, in my
No,
I
I
don't
opinion.
know
Like it's
know.
either.
I
one of
know.
my
It's
weird
wild.
takeaways from this album of
Yeah,
like this does so many things right for like the 90s for that time period. And
Right.
how is it not just a really easy marketing thing of like you like Oasis and Blur, but don't get British shit. Like,
yeah.
Right.
we can get Kevin Max over that. But like, do you want that sound but American? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and so it's really confusing. This one's another sweet song about a loved one, right? Like, I
Hmm.
think maybe tenderness was about a spouse. This might be about a kid. And so as like a dad, I appreciate that. This is another 2.75 for me. And this is a Blur track.
All right, Kylan.
This is a 4.5 for me. This is a great
Okay.
album closer. It does feel nice after some of the snark,
Right,
to
like
kind
it's
of end
interesting.
on like a really sweet note.
Hmm.
But still, you kind of take out the more generic lyricism that like Angels and Drive kind of had. Like it does feel really specific. There's a little bit more of that specificity
Hmm.
that I like. I love the don't be afraid when the day has become your lion's den. It's pure concentrate. Your comforting words have marked a trend. Like that is just like so specific. And like, I don't know exactly what he means by that, but I do know exactly what he means by that, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Right.
You know?
No, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
yeah, no, I think this is great. This one's mostly like organ led too, which is pretty
Hmm.
cool. And a really different sound that we haven't had. Like the organ has been sort of in that
But
music
this, yeah, this
bed.
is so
Right, but
predominant.
this
Like
is like,
this is
no,
the
this is
Doors. Like
yeah, like this
if the
is
Doors wrote a song that wasn't like painfully sad and bleak.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if Jim Morrison could actually write a good song, it'd be this.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. There's that.
So yeah. Uh this is a 4 out of 5.
Cool. I think you said 4.5
Oh, sorry.
a
Yeah,
minute
yeah, yeah.
ago. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You're right. You're
Okay.
right.
Um, yeah, for me, this is my favorite track on the album.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like the chord progressions, the way they sound, and the melodies, and when I don't know if they layer the rhythm guitar in the second verse, or if that's another rhythm
Hmm.
guitar that comes in. I like the way that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they throw in some of those Blur woohoos
Mm-hmm.
there in the
For sure.
bridge. Whatever that organ or whatever it was you said, it it sounds so circusy on this song,
Yeah.
but I think it works. So yeah, it's a 5 star 9.8. So in my top 250 favorite songs of all time. Um,
Nice.
so what do we think of the hidden track?
I wanted to talk about that.
Okay,
My
go
This
note
ahead.
is I dot 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 what?
no, but this is such a 1997 thing, right?
Okay, yeah. I
Like
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, fair.
and it's better than the hidden track on Two Lefts by Reliant K. Like uh and it's better than the freaking Jars of Clay 45 minutes of the orchestra talking or whatever. Like
That is
actually
admittedly
is
weird. I don't know
it's
what
too much.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's too
It's too
much.
much.
I
I
don't know
agree.
about that
I
one.
like it. This secret track scared the crap out of my wife in the car. So that was really fun. Because we were just listening to this, like, and it wasn't like all the way turned up. We were just like driving, and she was just zoned out on her phone. And then there's like 2 minutes of silence,
Hmm.
and then she's like, "What is that? Is something happening?" Like, she, was like, oh yeah, no, this song seemed really long. I guess there was like a bonus track. She's like, oh, okay. Well, you didn't say anything. I was like, yeah, I wanted to see how you felt about it.
This
I
almost feels
like
like a
it
DC Talk skit track
a
a
little
little
bit,
bit.
but
Yeah.
it's not as indulgent as a
I
DC
mean,
Talk skit
yeah,
track because they
yes.
didn't do six of these
No,
throughout the
exactly. No, no,
record.
no. I agree. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels very of the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
if you
agree.
put it on a CD, you got a little extra time. Let's just do something a little silly. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I know they added a similar track to that Smash Hits compilation, and I feel like their second album I think has one too. That sounds like it's
Nice.
from the same lady. So
Yeah.
I don't know if those are actual like older recordings that they've found. I like to think that maybe it's like his grandmother singing or
I had
something.
the same thought actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. Um, so yeah, okay.
Wait. What's your ranking of the secret track? Does that get a
Well,
ranking?
I didn't, I didn't factor it in.
Uh, I think
Uh,
you should now.
I don't.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
It's well unofficially a 4 star.
There you go. All right.
How about
Perfect.
that? um. Okay, so all right, Kylan. I predicted a three
Like
point
a
two five.
3.25. Yeah, no, this is a
Yeah.
solid 4 out of 5,
Okay.
man.
All
Good
right.
record.
Cool. I knew that there were some similar Christian pop rock albums of the time that you weren't real big on, so I thought
Yeah.
maybe that this would
No, but
fall
this
into
just,
that.
yeah, no, once again, I'm gonna bring up Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne. I
Yeah.
feel like a real comparison there. Like Ian just like knows how to write a pop rock song.
Hmm?
And so it's real straightforward. And I had a good time. Like I listened to this once with headphones. I listened to it probably 4 or 5 times, just like driving around, running errands and stuff. And it's like it was perfect for that. Like when the sun's
Yeah.
shining, like you can just like jam out to it. It's a
Yeah.
good time.
Awesome.
What
AJ, what? Go ahead.
watch if we cover this on Church James now, I'm gonna just be like, this album sucked. This is the worst thing I had to listen to all year.
I stand by that. You should
No,
just flip
it
a
was good.
coin if we're covering an album and
Yeah,
just like record hard in one direction and the exact opposite.
for sure. I
And then
kind of love
deny
that.
it. If anybody
Yeah,
brings it
yeah.
up, be
It's
like, what
like,
are you
no, I don't
talking
know.
about?
I don't know.
AJ,
Um,
what are your final thoughts and rating?
so this is a solid album. But I think it's a 2.5 out of
Oh,
3,
that's what I predicted.
which is what you predicted. Like there's some really
Yeah.
good tracks that I like on here, and then there's a lot of stuff that you're like, yeah, this is fine. Because I do, and it's hilarious, right? Because like I think of the three of us, I'm probably the most favorable to like the Britpop sound.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have this, I think, below things like My Epic and Falling Up and All the Day Holiday, which is not Britpop.
Right.
And so yeah,
Right.
this is I mean, 2.5 out of 3 is still like what is that, an 83% or something like that. Like this is still a
Something like that.
positive evaluation, but yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a solid album.
Yeah. 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 It's a 4.5 for me. Can't quite get to 5 stars. I want to just because, like I said, it's one that like the whole family can enjoy,
Right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's so few like that.
If you can't agree on music, like throwing this on, you're like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
tolerable sound.
Right.
Yeah.
Pleasant sound, I should even say.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So yeah, 4.5 for me. Um, so Kylan, with you giving this a 4, so
Yeah, where does
it
this
is
fall in terms of everything
so
else?
this is ahead of Evans Blue and Luna Halo,
Of course. Stand
and
by that.
it is on par with Keith Sweat.
I fully stand by that.
Okay. All
Okay.
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And then so AJ, you gave it a 2.5, so it's in the same category as My Epic's Behold album for you.
I think I might actually like My Epic better if there's a
Okay.
tiebreaker on there.
Okay.
What I think right now goes All the Day Holiday, Falling Up, My Epic, and then probably this.
Okay.
I still need to listen. Can you send me the Evans
Yes.
Yeah.
Blue and the other one? Because I do
Yeah.
need
Oh
to
yeah.
listen to
Yeah,
those
those
Yep.
episodes are
before.
coming out very soon.
Cool.
Um, I'll have some time, I think, next
Okay.
week
Yeah.
to do
I'll send
that.
those to you.
I feel like you're probably not going to be as harsh, but I feel like you're going to feel similarly about the Evans Blue
I'm rarely as harsh as you are.
album. No, I know. I know.
I don't know why
But
I don't know why I
I
love
get
that
it,
album
man.
so
No,
much. It's
dude,
It's
just
all
I
right.
get it. I
I
get
have
it.
some albums that
Yeah.
I can't defend that I'm like, look, I like it. I don't know why.
Yeah, exactly.
what's weird is I liked their first album better than that one for so long. And then like a year ago, I'm like, no, I like this one better.
I get
Um
it.
so yeah.
Rain was such a good guest on that though too. You guys,
Oh, she was so good. Yeah.
yeah, you guys vibed hard on that. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's see. What to thank all my patrons. Look into what we're offering. Patreon.com/ineverglow. Um, Shout out to WoW tier patron Tim Rogers. Um,
Tim, give it up.
Thinking on a few other ideas of perks for people who support us on Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Hear me
yeah,
out. Yeah, the
think
I
there are a few
Never
things.
Glow show goes on Patreon, and that's where we just talk goth music
Oh, there you go.
or
um,
emo. I think either. I know Kylan's got a whole like emo show idea, but
For sure.
be like 80s goth music just goes into I Never
okay,
Glow
that'll work.
Patreon.
Um, all right. So I think are we going to do "Shelter Heart" by Benjamin Daniel next? Is
Yep,
it
Oh,
y'all?
cool. I'm
that's what
excited
I've
Yeah.
about
got. Yeah.
that.
So we'll do
Should we
that
have
one
him on
next.
so I can eviscerate him? No, I'm kidding.
uh, we can maybe invite him on if you think
If you
Ooh.
if
feel
you'd
that
like
would
to do
be
that.
weird, I
Hmm.
fully understand because
I know you do understand that.
basically every time we have an artist, well, I'll cut all this, but like every time we've had an artist on the show, like my estimation of that record in the recording
Yeah.
like goes up by
Yeah.
like a
Yeah,
full
you want
point,
them to like you.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be a dick and be like, "Oh, this album
It would
sucked."
be a
Like,
lot
why did it
funnier if
suck?
you were
Like,
though.
no, I
Because you got to
know,
find like
but
the right person.
right,
Like there's some people, there's some that are on there like, you know what? No, I think I would like to tell you that I think your record sucks and that you're
yeah, no,
like
for
massively
sure,
decreased in quality and are
yeah.
now a prick. I would love to tell you that.
But we try really hard to not book those kinds of people on the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd rather
Um,
have him on for like an interview or something at some point, but
You
not
should
for
though.
the album.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
what would be kind of neat in some ways is like I don't know, reaction conversation with him of like, hey, say insert thing about this. Was that out of left field? And he's like, yeah, I've never even heard of that band in my life. I don't know why you thought like it's
Right.
like
Yeah,
heavily
Yeah.
yeah.
influenced by them.
Yeah.
Like that could be neat.
Yeah.
He's just a nice guy.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy.
He
Yeah.
makes pretty music.
Yeah, he does. Okay. Well, we'll do that one next.
Sweet. Make sure to text me tomorrow because I'm gonna forget.
Okay.
Yeah, just
I'll
you know
try.
what? Just
I'll
send
be
a text with
driving, but
like
I will
All
text you
right.
at some
Evans
point.
Blue, that, and then the K-pop one I need to
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
up on. Which fun story? So I was going through, I think it was Pitchfork's 100 best like tracks of the 2020s right now.
Yeah, I
And
saw
New
that.
Jeans is on there, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, because I was going through like, who do I know? And I was like, yeah, I know that name. I don't know why I know that name. It's only the most popular video we've recorded, and
Right.
it took me a
Yeah.
minute. Like, it genuinely took me being like, I don't. Did I talk about that with Eric and Kylan? Is that why I know that? Like, I had to go to YouTube and look. And I was like, yeah, only it's most popular
Yeah,
video.
yeah.
Like that.
Right.
Like, that's why I would know that.
That's so
Yeah. I don't know why Super Shy was the pick and not Ditto, but
I
okay.
don't know either, but like since then, it seems like the videos are still like staying fairly like not as high as that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. All right. Kylan, what would you like to plug?
Yeah, so my good friend AJ just came out with a book
Cool.
called Jesus and Joe Strummer. It's available for purchase on Amazon.com and bookshop.com. It's an incredible story of a rock and roll singer who has an overdose and starts seeing visions of Jesus and his dad and rock singer Joe Strummer. It so far, even though I have not finished it, has been one of my favorite books
He's still on
of
page
the
50.
year. I'm still on page 50, but well, I like 53. No, it's an incredible book, and it's so good. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can just get it, which is incredible. And I highly recommend everyone listening to this show go out and buy it and read it and get excited for AJ's next book, Short Stories for People with Short Attention Spans.
I have Jesus and Joe Strummer in my bag to take to Furnace Fest with me. What
Yes.
are the odds of that?
There you go.
Incredible.
uh, AJ, what would you like to plug? Maybe your next book.
No, I'm gonna plug 2 podcasts. First is Church
Okay.
Jams Now, which is where 3 youth group kids from the 90s come together and talk about Christian music. They say 90s and 2000s, and they just did a bunch of Larry Norman records, which are from the 70s.
True.
So I'm gonna plug that. It's a lot of fun. They've got like they've got like good banter and stuff like that. But the more fun thing that I enjoy is whatever Kylan's positions are on things. I have to take the opposite for my own enjoyment. And I highly encourage our listeners to do that, to tweet at them with the most wild takes that you have, just for
Please.
fun,
Please.
to know that Kylan's like, what is this take? Huh?
100%.
But they get super nerdy about music on there and like make me think of things that I'm like, oh, I didn't even catch that. Like that's super interesting. I've listened to this album for like 25 years. And they even take albums that I don't like and make it like interesting to talk about. So yes, Church Jams Now, and then of course,
I'm blushing.
In defense of Kesha.
Yes.
Because like low key, Kesha's probably one of the best pop stars to come out in the past. What are we at now? 10, 15 years, right? I'm gonna be on there some point probably. And you all gotta get the weirdest picks ever from me for songs I like by her.
For sure.
But it's super fun. Again, like I enjoy hearing people nerd out about things that they like and that they love.
Oh, me too.
And so, especially when it's out of left field like that you're like, hold on.
Hold on. The Church Jams Now guy and
the Church Jams Now guy and the dude from
sax player from the W's
really like Kesha, and they want people to know about this. And it sounds like a bit. Like genuinely, when I first told my wife about it, she's like, "That's hilarious." I was like, "No, they're completely like genuine, and they have to tell everybody that they're genuine like multiple times." But that's why I think it makes it interesting, right? Like it's something that's out of left field for them both, and they just have fun talking about it, so it makes for a good listen. So yeah, those are the things I'm plugging. And so what is that? Patreon.com/churchjamsnow. And I don't think In Defense of Kesha has one, but they're on Spotify and Apple Music. Wait. On Church Jams Now, go review it on Apple Music and say the most absurd things and insist that Josh has to do it in a snake accent.
Oh my God. Okay, guys, listen. We got a review from one of our favorite listeners, Evan, asking Josh to do it in a Gollum voice. And so we're doing an ad. We're doing I'm literally in pre-production for an ad that we're gonna do. We're gonna do a whole like Lord of the Rings with like orchestral music and all this stuff. Like it's gonna be incredible. I'm so excited.
That sounds awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And it's another reason to listen to Church Jams Now.
Yep.
So there you
and
go.
I listened to Kesha's Rainbow album because Kylan had such high praise for it the other day.
That's right.
And I gave it a 3.5 on first listen.
I'll take that.
But yeah, that's pretty good.
It's got my favorite Kesha track on there, but we're gonna save that for Kesha, where we talk about that one.
We might have to cover this album on the show at some point because I want to do some of your all's favorite albums too.
Oh yeah.
So I think that will about do it for tonight.
Sweet. Thanks for letting us plug each other's stuff.
We get tired of talking about our own stuff.
Yeah, AJ and I had that conversation privately. It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about my own stuff. Let's just talk about each other's stuff.
Okay, there you go. oh, y'all can give me some other ideas for how to end the show or
Amy
whatever. I
Grant.
guess. Yeah.